Hey, what's up everyone? It's me, Changman93, in the flesh and with a new jacket. Hope you like it. I think I might be wearing this from now on. And you may be wondering, where are the fucking books? Where are the DVDs and the CDs? Well, I have a special announcement. I'm moving house. We're moving. We're going to a completely different city. Although I will still be in the Manchester area because this city, called Salford, is actually connected to Manchester via motorways and bridges, because basically it's only a massive river. Well, it's not massive, but it's massive for Manchester, and that's all that separates us, because during the Industrial Revolution Manchester gobbled it up during massive construction work, because we became a textile factory powerhouse basically. So I won't be in this house anymore. This room will no longer host my channel. It'll be another room. A smaller room, but a room nonetheless. And yes, I will finally be in a flat, but not on my own. I'll still be with the usual people. So that's just an update. Now today's video is not going to be about that. That's just to clarify things. Today's video I'm going to talk about how this recent spat between Sargon, his supporters, and the people who don't like what he's doing with this petition to suspend, or is it to ban, social justice from universities, and my own opinion on it. Now, my opinion is this. I think there definitely needs to be some kind of peer review process into all these courses, so gender studies, women's studies, just take your pick, any of those courses that they do in universities that has that social justice tint. And the thing is, what annoys me about this is that people don't realise that these students don't just walk in and become brainwashed in a year. Now, some of them probably do. We've seen people on YouTube and on the internet be normal 1 year, and next thing you know, be a radical feminist, social justice warrior the next year. We've seen it with Steve Shives, we've seen it with a few others. There was this black feminist who was on Drunken Peasants debating Janet Bloomfield, and both of them went crazy after a year, although in different directions. But hey, I'm not shitting on both of them. That's just my opinion of their politics, not them as people. Most of these kids, or rather adults I should call them, they're 18-year-olds now, remember, or 19 or 20. Not everyone is an 18-year-old when they do their first year of uni. Some of them are even older than that. They will have some kind of opinion that is catering towards that kind of ideology. That ideology also caters to them. So they end up going into an environment which is a hug box, a echo chamber, and they get confirmation bias, and they become more radical as a result. There are some people who may not be so inclined to believe all that stuff, but later believe it. But overall, I'd say the whole brainwashing thing from Sargon is a little bit simplistic. I don't think he really understands what it's like. I've seen some people go completely apeshit after a year, but I've seen others who are already like that basically have their beliefs confirmed, even though those beliefs are unfounded and are basically pseudoscience. And for that reason alone, you could argue that that should be a reason why we should maybe suspend these courses and review them, check them out, see what's wrong, because we know that they're not teaching people about feminism and about Marxism, although it's not really Marxism, it's kind of a bastardized version of it for rich people, really, isn't it? It's the feminized, not womanized, I mean feminist, but I can't say feministized, kind of. It's a feminized Marxism, it's a social justice, it's like a branch that has pretty much become its own thing now, hasn't it? And they're teaching people it rather than about it, and that is the problem. It's not like in history where there's women's history. They don't teach you feminism, they teach you about feminism. They teach you about women. They don't teach you women, how to be women, how to approach women and treat people. That's not how you do it in history. But even then, you're looking back at the past, not the present. I think that's where I side with Sargon on that, is that we do need to review it, because they are spewing propaganda. They're not peer-reviewed, or if they're peer-reviewed in echo chambers where everybody agrees with everybody. There's no one who is neutral and can take a stance and has all the facts laid out with them and say, yes, this is wrong, this is right, this is wrong, we shouldn't be teaching students this is garbage, you are polluting their minds. But then I wonder, are we really going to suspend these courses and stop people having their education, because I've seen some comments of people saying that these people are forced to learn about the Marxist-esque stuff, the social justice, the feminism. No, they chose that course. They're paying their money to be taught that. They want it. They choose it for a reason. Because they like the topic, they like those politics, maybe it appeals to them. This is the thing, if you don't want to do history, don't do history. If you want to do gender studies, do gender studies. That's how it works. They're not forced to do it. They can go and choose another topic entirely. In fact, you can change courses at a certain point in university over here. I don't know what it's like in America or Canada, etc. So they have the freedom of choice there. And what do we do? What do we do when we suspend them? Because there's going to be students who aren't going to get educated. How long do we suspend it? A week? A month? How long does it take to peer review an entire academic work? Or at least the courses that they set out. How long would that take? I'm just wondering. Now here's the accusations from the other side. Woolly Bumblebee, that guy T, loads of other people. They're claiming that it's censorship to suspend them and to review them. Originally they're claiming that Sargon said that he wanted to ban it, and he says no, suspension then. I'm not sure where I look at that, because when I saw the Sargon's video, he was saying suspension, wasn't he? And they're saying he wants to ban it, which is censorship. Now, maybe it is censorship to an extent if you look at it from their perspective. They like the idea of universities to be full of ideological diversity. They want universities to be full of different thoughts and ideas, and I agree with them on that. I agree with them. I think there is a place for all kinds of ideologies in university. I think people should be taught about fascism, about Marxism, about socialism, about libertarianism, conservatism, social justice, about it. But the difference is they're being taught it. We would not accept people teaching how to be a fascist or a communist. Remember, these people aren't communists, they're social justice warriors, they're progressives. We wouldn't stand for that, would we? We wouldn't stand for these actual known extremists, because remember, most people aren't really aware of social justice warriors or what we now know as progressives, really. We would stop it. We would stop them and say, oh my god, this is going too far, stop it. And I think they would agree with that, right? We can't teach people to be fascists. And they probably would also agree that we can't teach people to be liberals or to be conservatives. They have to find that out for themselves. But why all of a sudden are they attacking Sargon for saying we shouldn't be teaching people this? We should teach them about it. What's wrong with suspending a course for however long, hopefully not too long, and say, no, you should teach people about it. You should get rid of the pseudoscience. Now, I saw Louis Lavelle on Twitter saying that guy T and the libertarians are scared because this means that their own ideology could be next. If their courses were put in as well, they would have to be peer reviewed, and maybe their ideas would be picked apart and said, no, that's wrong, you're wrong. Maybe they're scared of the criticism. Now, I'm not so sure, but there is an argument to be had there that maybe some people are worried about that, and censorship is an excuse for not wanting your ideas questioned. But what I don't like is how everyone is just devolved into mudslinging on Twitter when people should just be civil and talk about these things. Even the streams I heard devolved into just nothing but shouting. This is only a debate about how to deal with social justice in university. To get back on the diversity of thought, the problem is universities have never been a place of diversity of thought. Never have been, and most likely probably never will be. Okay, that is the truth. Now, there may be different ideologies at different times that have a hegemony over the others, but the fact remains that universities have never been like that. Look, for example, the poet Percy Bysshe Shelley, excuse the pronunciation, I could never get his name right. He was an atheist, proper atheist, Enlightenment thinker. He wrote a pamphlet during his university years that he published, I think by himself, and he got banned. He got excluded from university because he was an atheist and because he denied the existence of God and tried to prove it. He got banned for that. And let's not forget the no platforming that has been happening in the 1970s till now. People getting banned and thrown out for saying things that the university establishment don't agree with. Whether you're a fascist or anything, it doesn't matter. If you go against the status quo, the ideological thought of the day, you're getting banned, you're getting excluded. And you can look back through the history of universities and find them doing that all the way through. It's not changed. People think universities have changed. They haven't. They've always been an establishment kind of place that very few people, even though more people now go than they used to, with that brings the whole status quo thing. At the moment, social justice is the status quo. Now, do I think it's censorship? No, not really. I don't think so. I do think that maybe it's not going to work. I don't think it'll work at all. This petition is mainly, to me, more of a personal statement from the thousands of people who signed it and Sargon to say, look, we cannot stand for this. Now, the libertarians that have been attacking Sargon say these are private institutions and that we should be telling private institutions what to do. And to that I say, well, when they're poisoning the minds of people and sending them out there to poison other people's minds and to basically turn the whole country, in fact the whole Western world, into an authoritarian puppet state, a nanny state, do you really want that? Because your ideology, your whole thoughts will be under threat from that. I mean, I even saw on Twitter that guy say, you know what, I agree that we should not be teaching SJW stuff in universities. I agree we should stop it, but we shouldn't be telling people what to do. But you're saying that you don't want it, but... and that you agree with Sargon, but you don't want it to happen? Can you please make your mind up? You want to stop it, but you want to stop it, but you can't stop it. You need to figure that out too. And the reason it's not censorship is they're suspending the courses and they're going to peer review it. That's the idea from what I've seen. They're going to peer review it. And as far as I'm aware, a lot of universities, or at least most universities in the UK, are public funded. They're state sponsored. They are state universities. I think the one I went to was state sponsored. So that means Sargon and I and loads of other people have a say in that because we pay tax. All contribute to the paying of tax, whoever we live with. We have a say in this. We have a say in our children's futures, in our young adults' futures. We can and will use that leverage. We're voting with our wallets to an extent, if you think about it. Now, with the private ones, I still think there is something. Because you can, again, vote with your wallet. Like, look at all these gaming companies. They're private companies, yet they always back down or change things if the fans don't like it or if the market doesn't like it. You agree with that, right? Someone signs a petition saying, we don't want this because this, that, and the other, or we won't pay for this. If those people decide they won't pay for a product, the company looks at what has gone wrong and will fix it. Case in point, Batman Arkham Knight had a terrible PC release. In fact, I think even the console releases were terrible too. Bugs everywhere, bugs galore, game breaking, crashes, etc, etc. People had their games refunded en masse, and what do you know, they actually withdrew the PC version of Arkham Knight off Steam completely for a couple of months in order to fix it and have an actual proper release. That's what you can do with the private universities. That's what you do. And I think if you're paying for your kid, or if the kid is paying for that university to educate them, then I think they should say, we don't want this being taught. We don't want these safe spaces. We don't want these stupid things that social justice espouses. Is that not what you guys believe in? Isn't this what this is? Now, I was on the fence for a while, and I'm probably mouthing off a bit too much now, so I'll try and cut it short in a bit. But I can't really be on the fence now. I don't like being on the fence. I like to have an opinion, and I think ultimately I sided with Sargon on this because it's not really censorship. That diversity of thought can still exist. Social justice can still be there. They can have their own little clique, their own little society, and they can have their courses, but they cannot brainwash people. They must give people the choice to become an SJW, not you have no choice, you must be one of us. I personally don't think the petition will do anything. I think universities will ignore it. I think the governments will ignore it, because I just cannot see anything happening. Even though it's tens of thousands of people, at the end of the day, you know, they can ignore it. And they have ignored things like this. But who knows? I could be wrong. I'm a pessimist sometimes. So anyway, I think I'll cut it short. There were a lot more things I probably could have said. But at the end of the day, I have to say that they must suspend it, and they must peer review this, and they must make sure that these courses stop harming people. And I think we should do this across the board. We should make sure that all these courses, or these new ones and the old ones, every year are peer reviewed so that nobody gets brainwashed and that they're balanced and neutral to an extent that is acceptable. Because I don't think any ideology should have a hegemony over any other ideology. It should be, people should have the choice. If they want to be a fascist even, they can be a fascist, or a liberal, whatever, it doesn't matter. That's their choice at the end of the day, is it not? and that's what it should be. That's what the golden standard of a university should be, even though universities have never ever reached that standard. But this could be one small step to that ideal, maybe. Before I end it, I just wanted to add a little addendum to this. My problem with Sargon's petition is also that he doesn't really come up with a lot of alternatives to these courses if they're found to be toxic. Well, they are toxic, but if they're found to be toxic by these people, and we should get rid of them, what do we replace them with? What do we replace them for? I mean, they've been here for, God, decades now, right? Or at least a decade and a half. I don't quite remember when the university started teaching this shit, but what do we do? What's the alternative? I don't think he really thought that far ahead, but I guess the idea was to get the frustrations out there to show people. But I do think we need an alternative. You can't just sit there and say these things can't be here and not have an alternative, I think. That's a criticism. Anyway, people, this video has gone on for nearly 20 minutes now. I must end this. So with that, see you later. United rhythm in my home.